How'd this get on my computer? How to use a VPN for dummies? Who the hell is Silas J. Vance? Who made this book? What the hell's going on? Well, I guess since someone made this book, might as well make a video about it, I guess. Guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Thomas Spark. I wasn't making a video, I was just looking for something in my closet and this popped up on my screen, but I guess I have no choice but to make a video about this now. It's 2026, but you might be new to VPNs. You might be wondering, how the hell do I use one? Why do I even need one? Do I need one? So I'm going to be discussing all those questions in this video, as well as how to choose the perfect VPN provider. Also guys, I'm not just going to be blindly telling you you should use one or not. I'm going to be giving you the honest, objective truth if you really need one. Not only that, but I could also talk about other cases of VPNs that kind of expand the use case of what might not be a traditional VPN. All right, guys, let's get into the video. So guys, I made this little diagram to kind of illustrate visually what a VPN is first. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So guys, when you're connected to the internet, you have your device. It's your IP address. Think of this like your house's address, but it's for your computer. You can't really change it. It's kind of locked to you. Sometimes you could call your internet service provider like Comcast or AT&T or whatever, ask them to change it. Sometimes they'll do this, sometimes not. Sometimes you can also unplug your router for like 30 minutes and that might be able to give you a new IP address, or you can switch your internet service providers to get a new IP address, or sometimes you could actually use a VPN to get a dedicated IP address, and that's kind of like a paid add-on. You pay them as a service and they assign you one anytime you connect to their VPN. But we haven't really got to that point quite yet. Next up though, when you connect to the internet, you're connecting via your router. This is a device that it's like a little mini computer that essentially handles some of the networking to connect your internet and stuff like that. Basically your device sends plain text to your router and then it connects to your ISP. So if you're connected to something like Comcast or anything like that, you usually have a modem somewhere in your house. This gives you the connection to the internet, usually through some kind of cabling. And then you can even connect this modem to a router as well. But a lot of modems are kind of both a modem and a router built into one. So you might just have that. Additionally, we could also talk about mesh routers. Basically, you could connect your modem to a mesh router and then connect it to other routers and kind of create like a bigger Wi-Fi network. But this video is not specifically about that so much as the VPN technology itself. So with this normal setup, your ISP can actually see everything you do on the internet. Once you are browsing around, they can see your search history, what you're looking in websites. They can't necessarily what you're doing on each website, like they can't see your clicks and stuff like that, but they can pretty much see whatever website you visit. Not only that, they could also see how you use your traffic. So let's say you're doing a lot of game downloads or you're doing a lot of gaming, taking up bandwidth. They can pretty much see all of this because that's kind of how they monitor people and kind of keep track of data collection, basically. So your internet service provider is collecting all this data. They can pretty much sell it to whoever they want. In the United States of America, internet service providers have gotten deregulated a lot, and there's a lot of controversial kind of laws around them. But in the current state of the world, they do have a lot of power to pretty much do whatever they want. So when you connect to different websites, they can also see your IP address. And when these websites see your IP address, they can see the rough identity of your location. So this is usually something like a code. You could see this right here on the screen. So they usually see this code, and then they could kind of see where you are in the real world through this code because it's assigned to you in your general area. So if you guys want to check that out, go to arethétracking.com. It's my website that I built to just kind of show you this visually. If you go to this website without a VPN, it will show you exactly where you are to a pretty close degree. And just like any other website, this website can see that. It doesn't collect any information, but most other websites do. That's why sometimes you might see funny ads on the internet saying, hey, are you looking for hot singles in your area? That's how they know. Mystery solved. Now guys, when you use a VPN, it stands for Virtual Private Network. This is basically an application you put on your computer, your phone, or any device that can install applications. You can even install on your router to give VPN access to other devices. It's a little bit more complicated to do that. But basically what it does is it kind of acts like a middleman. It's going to stop that plain text traffic at the beginner level or the entry kind of stream, and it's going to encrypt that traffic so your internet service provider can't really see what you're doing on your computer. Now, I do believe they can still see what kind of traffic you're doing, like torrenting, gaming, and stuff like that, but they can't necessarily see what kind of websites you're looking at and that kind of thing. Now you might be wondering, well, Tom, how do they see this stuff if your internet connection is encrypted? Well, there's a couple different tools. It's basically known as traffic analysis or heuristics, also kind of known as deep packet inspection. And it kind of has to do with really nerdy stuff. Basically, different activities kind of have different fingerprints with how data moves back and forth. So with gaming, it doesn't actually use that much bandwidth. However, it's a really steady, rapid fire stream of small packets. And with something like streaming, it's a lot of like burst patterns because you're downloading huge chunks of video and then it buffers. And with something like torrenting, it downloads files, but it establishes multiple connections and pulls down data at the highest possible speed. So your internet service provider can see you downloading something in maximum bandwidth for sustained uninterrupted period. It's pretty obvious that you're torrenting. So yeah, but the thing is, they can't really break the protocols that VPNs are using. So while they might be able to see you're using a VPN or might see kind of the traffic you're doing, they can't know exactly what you're doing within that encrypted tunnel. Now, due to all this, an internet service provider can't really legally prove what you're doing or really see what you're doing necessarily. So for most intents and purposes, VPNs really don't really have much downsides when it comes to your internet service provider. It definitely gives you more privacy. They can't see what you're doing when you're using a VPN, and that's mainly the benefit of using a VPN provider. So if you're just purely concerned about privacy for your internet service provider, you don't want your data sold, don't want your company knowing everything you're doing, seeing the websites you're visiting, a VPN really doesn't have many downsides. That said, there is usually a speed decrease. However, lately VPN speeds have gotten really good. I've been reviewing VPNs around 12 or 13 years, and when I started out, most VPNs only had OpenVPN. Not OpenVPN 2.0, just the core OpenVPN protocol. Now, back then, this was a pretty significant speed decrease. I would say anywhere between 20 to 50% is an expected range of speed decrease. However, this smart guy called Jason Donenfeld made a better protocol called WireGuard. This protocol is more lightweight, it's faster, and it uses less battery on devices. So once that came out, we really only started seeing around 5 to 10% speed decrease from a lot of the best VPNs out there. VPNs also got really good at optimizing their server networks, kind of distributing loads and getting more servers across the world as they got to be bigger companies, and speeds generally saw an increase as well. So the good news is nowadays in 2026, you don't actually have to worry about speeds being decreased that much if you're using a VPN. Like I said, anywhere between 5 to 10% could be an expected range if you pick the right VPN provider. Now, honestly, when it comes to VPNs, most of them do the same thing. They all use WireGuard. None of them really created the protocol. Some of them, like NordVPN, created this fancy name called NordLinks, and they've done some interesting things with mesh networking, letting you get back into your home network by using their kind of protocol, but it's not proprietary or anything like that. The only VPN that has a proprietary protocol is ExpressVPN. They made one called Lightway. Now, if you're not a nerd, you don't really care too much about it. They really did kind of eventually make it open source, and it's a decent protocol, but most VPNs are pretty identical. You install a VPN on your computer, it's usually an application. You see a little visual interface of a map, a couple different server selections, a couple different settings you can configure. You pick a server close by, connect, and bada bing, bada boom, that's pretty much it. Not really much else to it. That said, VPNs aren't necessarily the same. You don't necessarily want to just pick anyone out there. There are core differences in VPNs that make them better than others. It's kind of like how there's millions of hamburger places out there. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Carl's Jr. They all pretty much serve the same burger, combos, fries, burger, drink, etc. But there is differences, and it really kind of depends on your individual use case for which one you want. That's why I made VPNsheroes.com, as you see below my picture. I made a spreadsheet listing out every single VPN, what they do good, what they don't do good. This is primarily for power users, but lots of people here on the channel like this spreadsheet and trust my recommendations. If you don't want to look into spreadsheets all day, you can just check my recommendations. So I'll be putting my top 3 options down in the description down below. That's going to be Proton, Nord, and Surfshark. They're both good for individual use cases. Proton is probably the most transparent VPN. It's just a little bit more privacy friendly with how it collects analytics on its websites. It's open source compared to some other VPNs out there. NordVPN and Surfshark are actually kind of like sister companies. I believe they're run independently, but they're owned by similar people and are very similar products. They have some interesting bundled offerings with different privacy products, and so does Proton VPN. You've probably heard of Proton Mail and stuff like that. But when it comes to these three VPNs that are all extremely fast, I would say that NordVPN has a little bit better streaming compatibility, which basically means that when you connect to NordVPN, you could connect to a Japanese version of Netflix and watch Japanese content. My experience, Proton doesn't do this quite as well. It just doesn't let you connect to different regions as much as Nord or Surfshark to access different streaming content. Basically, Netflix restricts your content to the region you're in, but a VPN, since it does change your IP address when you're connecting to its servers through the tunnel, the WireGuard tunnel, it basically gives you a new IP address. Now, NordVPN and some other VPNs have figured out that by using residential proxies and other different tricks, you can actually trick these services into actually thinking you're in Japan and get actual free content on different regions, even though you're not there. NordVPN and Surfshark are extremely good at this. Proton, not quite as good, but Proton is slightly more transparent with some of those things. So anyways, guys, I would say that if you're like someone who's been using VPNs for a while, Proton might be a good choice. It's a little bit cheaper, but NordVPN is really good if you really value streaming compatibility. Other than that, you can't really go wrong with any of these three choices. So I'll be putting links for those in the description down below. I'm not a sponsor for any of these products. I'm simply an affiliate. I mean, if you click on my links, I'll get a small cutback and you'll get a discount as well. Without these links, you'll usually miss a month or two and some discounts. But if you click on my links, you'll get a couple extra free months with your subscription and the best available discount. So it's really a win-win. No VPN can pay to be ranked here on my channel. This is all just my objective thoughts and opinions. And if you appreciate that, let me know down in the comments down below. Bad news is a lot of VPN review channels here on YouTube are actually owned by VPNs. So yeah, make sure to read the descriptions of the VPN videos you're watching. As far as I know, I'm one of the only ones left that's not directly owned or have investments from VPN co-founders. Now that you've picked a VPN, you've kind of done the hard part, to be honest. Picking the right VPN for your individual use case is pretty hard. There's a lot of VPNs out there that are not as good. Some aren't updated that often. In fact, some of my top rated VPNs for years haven't been updated for like 2 years now. And I had to penalize them in the rankings and even remove some for that. And some even got hacked and stuff like that. So you really got to stay tuned with the channel. But once you pick your VPN and you check out, you get a subscription. It's really quite simple. If you've ever installed any application on your computer, you know the drill. You download it, you install it, you log in, and you're pretty much just going to connect to a server that's close by to your location. Like I said, most of them also have dark mode and light mode, so you can kind of configure the settings. So that's the cool part about VPNs, is that they're really pretty easy to use nowadays compared to in the beginning days where they were a little more complicated, convoluted, and a lot of the apps actually crashed and had problems. Not to mention, most applications from the core VPN providers linked in the description down below all have apps on every single platform, whether that be Apple TV, Android TV, any phone you want, etc. So overall, once you connect and pick a server close by, that's pretty much it when it comes to VPNs. There are a couple other things you might want to kind of pay attention to. There's just a lot of like little individual tricks and stuff like that when it comes to VPNs. And I'll kind of point out some of my individual videos to help you guys find those tricks. So guys, in this video right here, this easy guide I made that has almost 100,000 views, this video kind of walks you through the first steps of downloading a safe torrent application, how to torrent with a VPN, and how to bind your BitTorrent application to your VPN's adapter so that way you never torrent without your VPN on. So I would recommend checking out this video if you specifically are a brand new user and want to start torrenting with a VPN. Secondarily, if you want some more advanced setups, I've made those as well. I made this video with Proton VPN and Gluten. Basically, Gluten is a way to kind of lock down a VPN configuration inside a Docker container. If you don't know what Docker is, well, it's basically just like this. The simplified version is basically an application that makes these little isolated folders on your computer that are kind of outside your operating system or kind of contained in its own little thing. So that's kind of what a container is. So if you're interested in that, if you like some more advanced tutorials, I made a video about that as well. So go ahead and check that out. I also have a couple different master guides here. I made this around 2 weeks ago. This kind of talks about all the different options you have when it comes to torrenting, different solutions. It kind of goes over this option, some of the other options too. So there's a lot to kind of learn with VPNs if you want to take full advantage of it. But the core kind of connect, download, and stuff like that is pretty simple. But there's tons and tons of tutorials here on my channel. So guys, I've successfully walked you through what a VPN is, how internet service providers see VPNs, some use cases like stream compatibility and torrenting, and how to take further steps to kind of become more of a master. Now you might be saying, Tom, I'm still not quite sure if I even need a VPN in the first place. Do I even need one? Maybe I don't necessarily want to download torrent files. Maybe I don't want to unblock geo restrictions. And maybe I don't really care if my internet service provider could see every website I've been to. Do I need to buy one? Well, if that is you, not really. You don't need to buy one. You don't need to buy anything on the internet, even though you might see ads for it all the time. You might see a lot of ads for things like Surfshark, NordVPN, from people like Graham Stephan, or people like that who don't generally kind of live in the networking world. At the end of the day, the basic person probably can spend that $10-15 a month or $90 for every 2 years, somewhere a little better. A lot of people simply don't care that their privacy is being scanned, and in their day-to-day operations, it might not affect them too much compared to something like a password manager that has extremely good benefits with securing accounts or just making it so convenient. A VPN doesn't necessarily have that effect. There are other tools that, in my opinion, are actually slightly more important than a VPN. VPNs are just an extremely popular product. It does have kind of a niche use case in some ways. For people who care about privacy, downloading torrents, want to unblock some geo restrictions, and just kind of want those benefits, it's a perfect solution. However, there are also other problems on the internet too. For example, data brokers host your information all the time. And if someone finds your name, they might be able to look it up on one of these websites like White Pages or so on, find your address and stuff like that, and harass you. There are also other products like that. I'll put a product down in the description down below if you're kind of interested in learning more about that. It's a product called Incogni that scans these websites and automatically removes your information. Other things like password managers, like I briefly mentioned, are extremely important, but there's a lot of free options out there like Bitwarden. So if you're someone who wants to kind of step up your passwords, maybe something like that, go ahead and check out Bitwarden. It's a great service I recommend here on the channel. Secondarily, VPNs aren't just a one size fits products. There's other types of VPNs. For example, there's products like Tailscale, which are technically a VPN, but it's not really like a VPN like NordVPN, Proton, and these kind of things. Tailscale instead is more of like a networking tool where basically you can install on your devices, and if you're not home, you can actually trick the device you're on into thinking you are home. This has tons of benefits like being able to remotely access your media servers, participate in LAN gaming, secure your workplace for work environments, and stuff like that. So just because a VPN is typically used for torrenting and stuff like that, doesn't mean there's not other cases as well, like remote networking. Additionally, a lot of people use VPNs for work, kind of like Tailscale, but more antiquated methods. So you might even see people talking about VPNs for that kind of thing. At the end of the day, a VPN is just a networking tool. And while the consumer grade VPNs are certainly the most popular in today's world, partly due because Snowden leaked how much the NSA spies on everybody, and VPNs kind of do prevent that as long as you have it on all the time, there's tons of other ways to use VPNs too. So let me know down in the comments down below how you use a VPN, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.